Planet of the Apes is one of the most underrated trilogies that has come out in the past decade. It's literally just monkey. How could you not love monkey? I love these movies, and Caesar is one of my favorite characters in fiction. So when I heard that a new Planet of the Apes was coming out, I was optimistic but nervous at the same time. The best part about the Planet of the Apes was the story with Caesar, and with a fresh slate to start off with, I was nervous that they would not stick the landing or know what to do with the new cast. I was also nervous that it would be boring, generic, and the story wouldn't be as good. So, was it a decent movie? Absolutely. I can happily say that 20th Century cooked with this movie. Pretty sure Sanji was behind the scenes. This is one of the best movies to come out so far this year, and I am happy to say I trust the directors with the next movie that's soon to come out in this series. I have a lot to mention, so I'll start off with the main character, Noah. Noah is not as good a character as Caesar, but then again, who is? But he by no means is a bad character. He fits just fine with the story that he was given and is perfect where he is. I want to mention that May was also a great character. I thought she was going to be a boring and useless side character Noah was going to have to constantly save here, but she actually made the plot more interesting during the prison camp. I also like how at the end of the movie they leave it open-ended, and I don't know if they're going to make this trilogy into a prequel trilogy, but if they do, I trust the studio to do a good job with it. Also, I want to mention that Rocca was another great character that I wish was in the movie more. He was kind of a nomadic hippie that preached about the old ways that Caesar passed down, and that was just as interesting as it sounds. I also like that he was a descendant of the very underappreciated character in the original trilogy. Maurice was one of my favorite monkeys, and I was happy to see that his great-great-great-great-great-grand monkey shines a bit. I know he and Noah are probably going to meet again in the next movie, but again, I just wish to see more of him because there was so much potential from these two being a duo for the rest of the movie instead of like 20 minutes. Also, the villain.
What a wonderful day! What a wonderful day!
Was given so little screen time, but was so impactful that he genuinely was one of the best parts of the movie. This movie has a lot of cool callbacks, and I like that the prison was also identical to the prison from the Humans military base in the last movie, showing that history's kind of repeating itself. That was one of the coolest details that most likely wasn't intentional, but it was still cool. Overall, the cast all did a great job, and I love seeing the chemistry between Noah and Rocca and Nova, and Alexander the Great Monkey will be remembered as one of the villains of all time. The story is also the next noteworthy thing about this movie that I have to mention. I thought it was going to be a basic by-the-book storyline, but I was surprised that it was a basic by-the-book storyline. Yeah, the storyline was not anything that was insane or groundbreaking. It's normal finding the family / revenge story, but it does it very well in execution. I also like how they handle the camera work of this movie. The shots in this movie and special effects team had not downgraded from the last movies because, oh my god, this movie is gorgeous. There's one point where they're looking at a telescope and kind of just looking around at the environment, and the camera work is so pristine that every shot in this scene I wanted to make my wallpaper. It's that good. And it's that well shot. You'll know it when you see it, and it's such a simple and insignificant scene, but it just looks so good for no reason. In fact, most of the time, it's the scenes that really nothing is happening, and they're just learning about normal stuff that humans did in the past. Those are actually the scenes I love the most. The scenes of characters just talking or learning about humans or just traveling in the environment around them is so intriguing and cool that I barely noticed 2 hours had gone by when we got to the finale. The film might bore some people because it is much slower paced than the past 3 movies, but personally I love the atmosphere and the feel of this movie, and the shots just make it that much better. One thing that I have to criticize, however, was that certain characters are very inconsistent. Like, some characters will say one thing and then the next scene they will completely change their minds and it never comes up again, and it affects the story a lot. And I didn't know if characters had Alzheimer's, but that would have made perfect sense for me. I noticed this in the beginning and it continued all the way up to the finale. One character is just sitting in his bed too scared to do anything, but then the next scene he's just like, "What are you guys doing this without me? Come on, you really thought I'd let that slide?" Besides that, I won't complain too much because overall the movie was decent. It was a slow burn and it had some inconsistency throughout the story, but besides that, it was a good movie and it made me anticipate and theorize where the plot could go from here. I trust 20th Century with this franchise, and I am looking forward to the sequel where Noah is an astronaut and meets Omni-Man in Fortnite. That's basically the plot of the original movies, even though I've never seen them. I just know they go to space. I'll give this movie a 7 out of 10. It's a good movie, good writing, good characters, and ignore the mild inconsistencies, and you have a fun summer popcorn movie. Also, if the apes go to space in the next movie, I can die peacefully knowing that I've seen monkeys go to space.